dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition from our program Body and Soul. In today's edition we are going to talk about the body language and how it is important on the human being and how it is important in the interaction between the person and the others. To shed more light on the human language and the body language and its link with the leadership, we are very much delighted to have our dear guest, Dr. Fouad Atiyah. He is a human performance consultant expert. Hello, sir, and thank you very much for being our guest for today.
Thank you.
Can you start, Dr. Atiyah, by explaining to us what is the body language?
The body language is the link between the nervous system and the muscular system. That means whenever you speak, we call this the utterance part. But the utterance part is not the only way of not the only means of expression. We noticed recently that it involves the muscular system taking orders from the nervous system, taking orders from the centers of the brain. Therefore, when you talk, you continue the expression by movement. That body movement called the body language.
Yes.
Why it's called body language? Language because, first of all, there is ABC for this language. And this language, if you know about it and you start using it, you become perfect in it. And if you master this language, you can read the people like an open book.
The body language.
The body language.
So I can read you as a person who I am communicating with without you talk, or with you're talking, the verbal talking, and with your body language both?
Well, it's a good question. As a matter of fact, you have to take the two into consideration.
Yeah.
Because it's not only the movement, it's the utterance that goes with the movement. And we call, there is a timing in the move and the utterance. If this timing is so close that you move on the utterance, like if you pronounce something, a word, and you move on that word firmly, you express a very developed personality, or balanced personality. If this goes into opposite direction, like the way you talk and your body movement does not really link the meaning, then we're talking about a personality that's weak and somebody who is not really sure of himself.
When I can read, Dr. Atiyah, that the person in front of me is a strong character, he is full of himself, he is aware of his decisions, he's aware of what he is talking about, how can I read this?
In body language?
Yeah.
First of all, let me just put some basics for how the nervous system is developed in the body language. The nervous system is developed in the body language using the firmness of the hand. You'll be surprised that people with a strong personality, they will shake hands and squeeze your hand with a force.
With strong personality.
With strong personality.
Would they squeeze my hand during shaking hands? Or
shaking hands, mostly. Well, naturally, the shaking hand is the only way that people can contact. Therefore, if you let me just put something out. The Germans will teach the children to have a very firm handshake, which is considered a body language, because first of all, the nervous system would be affected by that. You build up the nervous system using this way. If you hold your hand strongly like this, we can see it in the ancient Egyptian put this forward, but nobody really paid attention to it. If we can see one of the
photos that showed the ancient Egyptian and how they are using the tools.
You see how the hand holds the stick, and the other hand is holding also on something else.
What does that mean, Dr. Fouad? The pharaoh is holding the thing that he's holding with a very firm stance and near his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean near the shoulder to have a body position straight. They give him a crown, which is the weight of the ground. The crown is very heavy, so he will throw the head backward. And then the way he holds that stick, he holds it close to his body. And it's very difficult to lean forward while you're holding this. So you have to...
As a pharaoh here, Dr. Atiyah, what message does he want to deliver?
He wants to deliver a message through his body language, his body talk. First of all, the grip will reflect the power.
I'm in control.
Right.
Yes.
And then the other stick, which is close to the body. In other statues, we will find the stick is, we can see it later on. But I'm concerned about this now. He is holding it against his body. So he's like pushing himself to the back to have a straight spine. A straight spine in the body language is very important.
Why?
Because the communication between the head, where the basis for the nervous system, through the body, goes through the neck. If you bend your neck, you build your body, you build your neck, that connection will have a difficulty. So the flow of information that comes from the body to the brain and vice versa, from the brain to the body, will be affected by this. So the only way to maintain this correct is to keep a body posture straight.
Dr. Atiyah, that would bring me to ask you, if a person nowadays is having a bow, certain way of walking while he's bowing, and another one is so straight, what's the difference between the two from your point of view as an expert in the body language? Does that mean anything, or it just related to being smart or fat? Or
if your job is to lean, like people who write a lot, and you know, they create a hunchback, and the hunchback would be attached to depression, would be attached to sadness, would be attached to...
Why, Dr. Atiyah?
Because the chest does not have enough oxygen. And then the circulation, the blood circulation is less, and the blood that goes into the brain will be less. That affects the whole personality and the whole trait.
So a straight person, the person who is walking straight with the very straight back, is more positive, is more cheerful than a person who is having a bow.
Exactly. And we usually, when you have, say for example...
Yes, please, we are watching now another photo for one of the pharaohs holding a stick in his hand, and the other hand he is holding the key of the Nile with a firm...
Okay, and he's holding the key, the key of the Nile firmly, and the stick to straighten out the spine. And then you look at the way he gazes is up. The Americans or the Europeans will say chin high. Chin high, you see that false chin?
Yes.
The false chin is there not to bend the head.
That's why they used to put false chin.
Oh.
Yes.
I mean, it's not really grown like this. It's artificial.
Yes.
But this is to show the pharaoh, this is the way you should stand. And this is the
way... A way of dignity, sir, a way of showing power. How do you read his way of standing and his way of holding the
He is
stick?
very confident in whatever action or whatever. The way he looks at things, he looks at things with wisdom. With all of this is a very complicated traits to reach a perfect personality. And you should have the pharaoh is the most perfect personality because he is ruling.
Of course.
And if he is ruling, he should be in a good shape, body and soul. Huh?
Indeed. Dr. Atiyah, if I'm talking with a person, how can I understand his personality from just talking to him for the first time maybe, and how would I know if this person is a sincere person, what he is saying is true, he is not lying to me? How would I understand that through his body language? Because you might say something which you do not really mean. So how can I read that
You see,
through the body language?
you cannot really explain this easily because it's a very complicated issue, but I'll give you some clues. Say, I'm giving this as an example to understand the body language.
Indeed.
If I talk to you showing the back of my hand,
Yeah, this.
like this, I'm talking like this. There are lots of people talk like this.
Yeah, indeed.
This is subconsciously making a barrier between me and you. So, if I say I agree with you, I'm making like this.
Yes.
I'm lying.
Okay.
Because the showing of the back of the hand means rejection, means barrier, means distance. So I'm showing
So
this.
I'm creating, when I'm using my hand this way, I'm creating a barrier between us.
Exactly. Look at the utterance. Look at the verbal
What
part.
about the eye contact, sir?
This is a very complicated issue, and I'll explain this separately.
Yes.
But let me just put it out this way. I'm pronouncing in the verbal communication
Yes.
that I'm agreeing, and my bad language is contrary to this. What's the correct situation? I have to show my palm.
But no one is doing that while talking.
If you look at Sha'rawi, Sheikh Sha'rawi, you will find him always, but he's doing this by instinct.
Yes, I know.
He's showing the palm of his hand. And if you're talking to somebody and you're trying to convince him of something that's really real, you will more than likely, you tend to show the palm of your hand than the back of your hand. I mean, you will not talk making like this. But while you move, the way you show.
Yes, your hand palms.
Exactly. And this is where the body language starts.
Indeed. Sir, we'll get back to our conversation here, but first we'll take this report about the importance of body language and the leadership, and we'll get back after that to continue our interviews of Dr. Fouad Atiyah, but now with this report by Samah Sharif.
Body language plays a key role in effective leadership communication, and there are a number of tips that give a non-verbal advantage. To boost your confidence before an important meeting, replace your smartphone with a newspaper. Most business professionals understand the importance of projecting confident body language during an important meeting, a job interview, say, or a key sales pitch, but few realize that how they sit while waiting in the reception area has everything to do with their initial impression. To spot a liar, look out for these the telltale signals. These are hand touching, face touching, crossed arms, and leaning away. According to research conducted at Northeastern University, if you see these telltale being displayed together, watch out. To make a difficult task seem easier, just smile. Charles Garfield, the author of Peak Performance, once coached the Russian Olympic weightlifting team. Garfield noticed that when team members lifted to exhaustion, they would invariably grimace at the painful effort. In an experiment, he encouraged the athletes to smile when they got to that point of exhaustion. This seemingly minor difference enabled them to add 2 to 3 more reps to their performance. So this tells that when you smile, your brain gets the message, it's not so bad, I can do this. To reach an agreement, send early engagement signals. Over the years, it was noticed that parties are more likely to reach an agreement if they begin a negotiation by displaying engaged body language, smiling, nodding, mirroring, open gestures, etc. Interestingly, that positive result is the same whether the display was the product of an unconscious reaction or a strategic decision.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. Now we continue our interview with Dr. Fouad Atiyah about the body language and its connection with the leadership. Dr. Fouad, what is the importance of the eye contact during having a conversation with someone? And from the eye contact, can I understand the personality of the person that I'm talking to, and if he's sincere and honest in what he's saying?
Eye contact is one of the very basic rules for body language. And as we were children, you know, if somebody is lying, he will say,
look at me at the
look at me in the eyes.
In the eyes, yes.
Which is true. Scientifically, you cannot really lie while somebody is looking at you. So, and there are certain types of psychosomatics. The basic things is people cannot have an direct eye contact.
Why, Dr.
Because of the personality, very shy or very aggressive, or he's hiding something from you.
Yes, but if I'm a very aggressive person, why would I hide my eye from you? On the contrary,
it's not a hide. There is a gaze, natural gaze, and if you
tough one.
If you freeze that gaze for a longer time, then you go to the boundary of the criminology. I'll give you an example.
Yes, please.
A child comes from the school and he has done something wrong in the school, and his mother will try to explain something to him by louder voice or so, and he gazes at her longer than it's supposed to. Yeah. She will consider this an insult, and she might punish him more. And this is the way. The eye contact has to be in a right proportion. You cannot really look at somebody for a long time.
Cannot stare. If I'm staring at you for
I mean, it gives a totally different impression. And sometimes it's the opposite of what you mean, you see? So the eye contact is a very sensitive thing. What we mean here is also we teach this to policemen and people who tend to question somebody or try to investigate whatever is going on.
Yeah.
The eye will have a pupil, and the pupil will be widening and narrowing. Watch this. If it widens, then the person is under some kind of stress. If it goes less, then the person is in a limbo type of state. You know, he does not feel. But what we are concerned about is the wide pupil. Let me give you an example. The people who sell expensive items, they will show you the item. Not that many people will buy an expensive item. But when he is showing you the item, he will look at your eyes. If your eyes widens, the pupil will get wider. Then you will buy that item.
Are those people aware of that, Dr. Atiyah, about the body language?
This is done subconsciously.
But they do understand your reaction, and they understand that if you are going to buy or not.
Yeah, other people will read that on you.
Is it by experience? Do we get that by experience or by training?
Yes. Most people who sell expensive items will know this, and they
like
will know for
diamonds,
sure
for example.
who will buy and who will not, and then he can really put his knowledge and experience and skills to let him buy that item. This is also very important, but for the person, I mean, let me put this out because it's very important. The regular person, the lay person, will not be able to detect that easily. You need to concentrate in interrogation. You know, when you are asking somebody, a criminal or something, they will have people watching from outside through a one-way glass that they can see and he cannot see them.
Yes.
And they watch his pupils. And now with the new gadgets, now you can film, you can put it on tape, you can watch this easily.
So they can also use that understanding of the body language to be aware of a criminal, to be aware if someone is, some suspect is
hiding something or being under stress because of he have done something. And the body, the utterance or the verbal language will not reveal that, but the body language will. And you, the amazing thing here is you cannot control the body language because it happens subconsciously. So if you can read this easily, you can, as I told you before, you can read the people like an open book.
But Dr. Atiyah, can a person have a training to train his body language in order not to be understood, especially in some professions when you are working in the intelligence, when you are working in certain professions, you should control your body language not to be understood by the others, I believe.
Let me be frank with you.
Doable?
Let me be frank with you. I've been asked that question a million times. But how many people will be trained for that? How many?
Well,
A very negligible percentage.
Indeed.
But very important, for example, for the presidents of whoever will learn these things in terms of negotiation. Usually when you find negotiation between two very important people, they will put their body in a zero position not to reveal
anything.
anything.
Just sitting on the seat or just standing or...
Right. There is a, you put your hands on your lap and you sit straight and you don't show anything of your eyes easily. I mean, you're talking with the eyes straight. There are certain rules for that, and there are centers that teach the presidents in the states, the congressmen, and they all have to go through this type of training. I used to give training of that nature when I was in the States.
So as a normal person, I cannot control my body language?
No, no way.
Even if I'm trying?
Well, I give you an example. In theater, we teach you to play another character.
Yes.
Maybe an old man or so. But immediately when you come off the stage, you become yourself again. Even so, you have done this maybe for 10 years. In England, there are people who did a part for maybe 12 years or so, or maybe 15. Sometimes you cannot really differentiate between the character he's playing and himself. And there is a terminology for this. We say he's playing himself.
Yes.
That means the character and
they become one.
Become one. But this takes a very long time of practice and experience.
Indeed.
For the person, whoever he is, he can predict for some time, but he cannot continue.
Dr. Atiyah, how do you weigh the importance of body language in being an important part of an effective relationship communication?
This is, I can talk about this in like the convincing session or the negotiation session. We have something called mirroring, which you depict the movement of the other person. Okay, he's putting his hand like this, you put your hand like this, but you don't let him be aware of that. You do this while comfortable, relaxed, without letting the other person sense that you are mirroring him. The ideas between those two people will be ironed. It's a terminology. Iron the difference.
Yes.
It means that they reach an agreement without them knowing how they reach that, through the body language. And most people, salespeople, most negotiators, they learn this. But it's a very important technique that you have to develop over the years. It's not something you learn overnight.
Dr. Atiyah, how the body language could reveal the personality traits, but not the feelings and emotions that the person could feel?
Well,
Or you cannot hide your feelings as well, and it's expressed through our body language.
let me give you something that happened in body language, which we call it the frozen mask face.
Or poker face.
Right. Most people nowadays, you have depression and you have sadness, and that leaves the muscles of the face frozen.
Out of our hands or with our hands. We are trying to control our muscles and our emotions or our body language.
Well, if you tend to take life negative, and you always express negative feelings, it will reflect on your face. Then the smile will not be easily reached. If you do this over a period of time, the muscles get frozen. Now, when you try to express another feeling, you cannot, because the movement of the muscle stops. And this is where the expression really gets stopped. And this is what reveals the character. If a person who is deeply depressed, it will not show on his face. If he's joyful, if you crack a joke for him, he will not smile, something like this. So it's very important to have the inner out by maintaining a flexible muscles,
Indeed.
especially in the face.
Of course. Dr. Fouad Atiyah, the human performance consultant expert, thank you very much for being our guest for today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your precious input.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of